Welcome to the Sports Steady Podcast. We're on episode 35. Now, we got to talk about two topics today. Well, two stories, not topics, two stories. So, we got the NFL Conference championship games, I should say, going on Sunday with the Chiefs, Ravens, and the Lions and the 49ers. So we'll talk about that. We'll break down that. We'll have the picks up at Gridiron Steady on X. And I'll do the preview here. I usually would do a video. I haven't done a video in a long time, but I usually would do a video. But I'm going to do it on a podcast. Kill two birds with one stone. That's that. And then the big story in the sports world, which is kind of big, I guess. I don't know how you... It depends on if you are a WWE fan, but the explosive allegations against the co-founders, Vince McMahon, who has since now has resigned from WWE after these wild allegations of sex trafficking and all kind of stuff. We're going to talk about that after a little later on. But first, the playoffs. The NFL playoffs. And Sunday games, the early 2 o'clock game or 3 o'clock, whatever time, 1 o'clock. We got the Chiefs and the Ravens. Now the Chiefs last week beat the Bills, which we're not surprised. We figured that would happen. And so we get Patrick Mahomes versus Lamar Jackson. The Ravens are a hot team, right? I mean, the Ravens might be the most consistent team all season as far as like in the AFC. There's really have been no perfect team all year long. But I think if you look at the two most consistent teams, it probably would be the 49ers and the Ravens. And probably the Ravens, Lamar Jackson may end up being the league MVP when it's all said and done. And if you believe he deserves it or not, look, Lamar's had a pretty good year, right? Over 3,500 yards, passing, 24 TDs. Mahomes' numbers are better as far as throwing the ball, but I think Lamar also almost had 1,000 yards on the ground. So he will be the MVP. At least that's the take here. Ravens come in with the number one rushing attack, led by Lamar Jackson. They average over nearly 160 yards per game on the ground, which is number one in the NFL. They are top 5 scoring team. Now their passing is the bottom half of the league, so we'll see what Lamar does. Can he get the ball in the air, which I think is not going to be easy. I mean, the Chiefs are number 4 in the NFL in pass defense. They don't give up a lot of passing yards. They only give up 176 per game. Now, you could say maybe that's those. See, sometimes statistics are skewed because it depends on who you played against, right? But the Chiefs, top 5 in pass defense, do you really think the Chiefs have a top 5 pass defense? Are they really good like that in the secondary? I mean, they did a solid job on Stephon Diggs and the Bills last week. I think Josh Allen threw for under 200 yards. So Josh Allen threw for under 200 yards against the Chiefs. And Allen has a bigger arm. You would think he's a better passer than Lamar Jackson. Then you got to think that Lamar is probably... He might throw for about the same, but I think the strategy for Kansas City is going to be they're going to want Lamar to throw the ball more. So I could definitely see a scenario where Lamar is forced to throw the ball a lot more than Allen was, and they make Lamar beat him in the air instead of on the ground. Because if he gets on the ground, gets 150 yards, throws for 200 yards or 175, the Chiefs might lose the game. I think if you keep if you keep Lamar Jackson under 100 yards rushing, maybe under 75 yards rushing if possible. Maybe you keep him under between that 30 or 40 yard rushing range, maybe 50 at the most. The Chiefs will like to do that. Now, on the other side of the football for Baltimore, their defense has been pretty good all year for the most part. Top 10 defense. So Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, and these guys, they're going to have their hands full against this Raven defense, which is very physical. I mean, these guys, they love to get at you. They throw different things at you. They got speed, probably the fastest defense in the league. So Mahomes, he's going to have to be – Kelsey's probably going to have to be a big – because I noticed in a couple games, like Baltimore loves to send these extra guys, right? These spy type of defenders, they just come out of nowhere. So Travis Kelce, he's going to see a lot. That middle of the field going to be open for Mahomes if he get the ball out quick enough. That's what Travis Kelce comes in at. Kelce may be able to feast on that middle of the field, especially the way Baltimore loves to send those safeties and all that stuff. There's gonna be a lot of yards in the middle of that field for Kansas City if they could exploit it. So we'll see what happens with that. And so in this game, we're looking at light rain, right? Probably gonna be about 8 degrees out there, maybe light rain. So temperature is gonna be football weather. Might be a low scoring type of game potentially, because both defenses are gonna be very active. Last time these two teams met up was back in 2021. It was a high-scoring game. Went over 70 points. That was a few years ago, which means nothing today, of course. But we just like to mention it because it's just a habit that we do. But I think that I'm going to go with Kansas City here. And here's a factor with the Kansas City factor. It's not so much about the play on the field. I'm a conspiracy guy, right? The NFL's rigged. Right? Taylor Swift, the NFL wants to get Taylor Swift's face on camera on Super Bowl Sunday. They want it. Like, they had that, when they had that game with Chiefs, I think it was Chiefs somebody, where they had on what was it, Paramount Plus? No, the other one. What's that thing called? Peacock. And they had like 25 million viewers. It was the most. Remember, Peacock has a total of 30 million subs, and that game alone had 25 million watching the game. So they gained a bunch of subscribers. We don't know how many they gained, but they did. So the NFL is looking at Taylor Swift. She is the superstar keeping the viewership alive for the NFL. And they want her on Super Bowl. Could you imagine having... Look, I'm sick of the whole Taylor Swift thing, but I have to acknowledge that she brings eyeballs. She brings a fan base, a different demographic type fan base that the NFL wants to tap into. I'm surprised the NFL haven't given her the keys and made her the ambassador, the official ambassador of the NFL yet. I mean, an official title, like if the Chiefs win the Super Bowl, I could see the NFL is going to probably give her, they're going to name Taylor Swift Day. They may change the Super Bowl name to Taylor Swift Bowl if the Chiefs somehow win it. But they want her on TV. Plus, it's election season. She brings that as well. Yes, we have to acknowledge that politics is a big ploy in this. Political people are using Taylor Swift or using Taylor Swift's popularity. She leans to that demographic. She leans to that side of the aisle. She's a powerhouse, and the NFL will love to exploit that. Anything to get new eyeballs, they want. And she's a big distraction from all the other stuff they got going on. Remember, they talked about doing Black National Anthem and all this woke stuff they're still doing. But Taylor Swift's popularity kind of cancels out all the stuff that the other people are upset about. So a lot of people say, "Oh, I'm done with the NFL." People have been saying that for 5 years, and they still show up. I find it funny that people who always say, "Oh no, I'm done with the NFL." I've been seeing the tweets and people in videos They've been saying that for 5 years. But somehow they always make their way to NFL conversations. They're always in NFL chat rooms, NFL tweets. They find their way always there. The same people, I'm done. If you were done, you would have left years ago. But you somehow made your way back. So apparently you can't leave the NFL. So now people are upset. They're saying the same people who said they were done a few years ago are now saying again they're done because of the Black National Anthem and all this other stuff the NFL is doing. Oh, and then the Bud Light thing, right? NFL's been with Bud Light forever. They haven't left Bud Light, but people still watch the games. They said earlier, oh, I'm done with NFL because of the Bud Light. NFL gets a Bud Light contract. But Bud Light now with UFC, those same people ain't leave UFC. They still there. So, I think at some point these advertisers and these sponsors are going to start ignoring your ass. And they're just going to go for the next fan base. Taylor Swift brings in more people than the people who are upset about the Black National Anthem, apparently. This is their view. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't have the numbers, but the numbers are showing that viewership, even under a paywall, was up for the NFL. So sooner or later, they're going to be charging you for pay-per-view. And shame on all you tool bags who bought Peacock to watch the goddamn playoff game. Shame on you, because you fell right into the trap. You just gave them ammunition. You gave them data to now show. Because guess what's going to happen? The board members, whoever's in charge of these decisions, are going to say, hey, look, we ran a game on Peacock, a playoff game, and people bought it. We got the highest viewership. Now we have data, we have proof that this works behind the paywall. So guess what? In a couple of years, Super Bowl is going to be behind the paywall. And they're going to get the money back. Even if they don't get as many subs as they think, the advertisers are going to buy it because they saw the numbers from Peacock. So they're going to say, instead of $5 million a commercial, we're charging $10 million behind the paywall. So even if they don't get the same numbers that they would usually get, they're going to make all that money from ads, advertisers. Because that's the real target. That's what the NFL is really going after. See, advertisers are coming after us. The NFL is going after the ad dollars. The ad dollars satisfy the NFL. The NFL brings the audience that satisfies the ads. That's how it goes. So they're going to get their money, and that money is typically comes up front. The back end dollars will be the companies who advertise on these commercials. They hope to get sales. They hope that you sitting at home say, oh, I want to buy this and get that. That's what they're hoping for. But the NFL, they're going to get their money regardless. Whether 100 million people watch or 75 million people watch, they're still going to make their money. Because they're going to charge more to the advertisers. And that's what is going to happen. And then once it works with the NFL, other leagues are going to start doing the same thing. NBA, they're going to start putting their games, their playoff games behind paywalls. You're going to see it. It's going to be a complete shit show. But as long as you guys buy it, they're going to do it. Supply and demand. And good for them, because this is all good old capitalism, right? If people, there's a market for it, people are going to buy. I don't knock it. The reason why I say shame on you guys for doing it, buying it, was because you could have really sent a message and say, hey, we're not down with this. Because a lot of people said they didn't like it. They didn't like this idea, but then they went and bought it anyway. So people say one thing and then they do another. Just like the same people who complain about, oh, I'm not going to go out and shop. I'm going to boycott Black Friday. But the same companies you shopping through the online sites. So when I hear that, when you see these articles about, oh, sales are down on Black Friday or this and that, and people think that's a victory. They're like, yeah, we won, we boycotted. No, you didn't win, because online sales up 75%. And the same people who say, I'm going to boycott, I'm not going out, I'm not going to shop on Black Friday. They're at home on their computer or on their cell phone fucking shopping. And the stores know this. The businesses, the companies, they know this. They purposely did that because they tried. The goal is to get everybody to go online anyway. One, they don't have to pay as many employees on time and a half or holiday pay because you're shopping online. So that means less people in the store. And they sell it as, oh, we want the employees to be off so they can be home with their families. No, they ain't having that many employees anyway. Right? They don't have that many employees anyway. And Amazon's the biggest benefactor in this because Amazon, they have the warehouses, they have the inventory. They win. They win this game every day. So that's how it goes. All right, so let's get back to the football talk here. I know I went way off here to another situation. But anyway, all right. So let's go to the next game. We got the Lions and the 49ers. Now, Detroit Lions, I mean, we had look, we are one of, I'm going to take the credit here. I had the Lions this far, making it to the NFC title game, I believe. We had a big year for the Lions. We were one of the few people to respect the Lions. So this is big news. This is huge. This game is going to be on Fox. It's a 5:30 game p.m. on the Central Time. Jared Goff and Brock Purdy. Christian McCaffrey is going to be a big, big player in this one. I think he's going to have a big year. Big game, excuse me. I think he should be the MVP, honestly. I know Brock Purdy is going to steal votes from McCaffrey, which is why Lamar may end up being the MVP because of the split votes between the 49er players. And I think they probably purposely did that just so they could split the vote because I think the MVP vote would have been a lot closer if it was just one 49er on the list and preferably probably Christian McCaffrey. I mean, Purdy, he deserved to be on there too. I mean, he deserved to be on there, but I think McCaffrey's was probably the MVP of the 49ers this year, to be honest. But, so Detroit has a top 5 offense for the most part. So does the 49ers. So this is two teams offensively that are, you're going to see a lot of points potentially in this game. Talking about the game's going to be at Santa Clara Levi Stadium. This going to be huge. This might be the game of the week. Even bigger than Kansas City, Baltimore. I think this is going to be this is going to be a better game. Like a more fun game to watch. Because you're going to see points. If you like points, you like scoring, this may be the game you will want to watch. Also, defensively, San Francisco, Detroit, they come in with the number 2 rushing defense. They're going to give up 88 yards a game. And while the 49ers have the number 4 rushing attack, 140 per game. So you're going to see rushing attack versus the rushing defense. That should be a good matchup. Same thing here with the secondary. Both teams give up a lot. Both teams at the bottom half of the league in passing yards, passing defense, excuse me. So, and both teams are top 5, top 4 in passing. So we're going to see, we should see some big time. And Detroit has number 5 ranked rushing attack too. So this is probably a very even game statistically. Both teams are pretty even statistically, believe it or not. Now, Detroit, 49ers, on paper, at least from a roster standpoint, is better. They have, as far as bigger name recognition, McCaffrey, Kittle, and, the defense and all that. So, I'm going to give the edge here to the 49ers to win the game. They're at home. I'll give the edge to the 49ers. That's how I look at it. So, San Francisco, and the other one was Kansas City. So, Super Bowl is going to be KC versus San Fran. That might be the best matchup the NFL would want to see. Detroit in the Super Bowl would be a huge story, too. That would be explosive. But I think the least matchup the NFL would want to see would probably be Baltimore Lions. That would be the least. The biggest matchup, the best one, KC 49ers. And Baltimore 49ers would be good too. That would be a rematch from a few years back when Colin Kaepernick, I think he was a 49er quarterback back then. But I think KC 49ers is the dream matchup for the NFL, and that's what you might see. So that's the Super Bowl. KC versus the 49ers. That is the matchup. Now, yeah, that should be the matchup. And then, of course, when that matchup does happen, and say somehow the 49ers win the Super Bowl, people are going to be complaining, saying, see, we told you Lamar shouldn't have been MVP. It should have been either Brock Purdy or Christian McCaffrey and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. Let the controversy begin. But that's that. So, let's get to the big story. Is, if I can find it. Here we go. Vince McMahon resigns from the WWE after a former employee files a sex abuse lawsuit. Now, it wasn't just your typical, oh, he harassed me. You know how like these big CEOs are just being attacked, and these old guys are now being held accountable. I guess they're calling it held accountable, or allegations that are proven to be either true or false, or not enough evidence, but you're guilty anyway. As we've seen in the case with former President Trump, who was found liable to have assaulted a woman back in the 1990s or something, or the 80s, or whatever. And then he got found liable for defamation for defending himself against the lawsuit, which crazy stuff like that in New York. But now we got another situation. Another CEO, big name, rich guy, billionaire, being accused of sexual abuse. And on Friday, Vince McMahon resigned from the WWE's parent company the day after a former employee filed a federal lawsuit accusing him and another former executive of serious sexual misconduct, including offering her a star wrestler for sex. McMahon stepped down from his position as executive chair of the board of directors at WWE's parent company TKO Group. Now, TKO came up because I think The Rock got on the board, or he became owner or something like that. That was like a big thing. And then like right after that, Vince McMahon, the lawsuit comes out, which is very suspicious timing of a lot of this stuff. But according to a statement that was released Friday, he continued to deny any wrongdoing following the lawsuit by Janelle Grant, who worked in the company legal and talent departments. So this woman worked in the legal and talent departments. Now, I don't know about you, but if any of this is even close to true, are you really that stupid? Or maybe you just don't care because you think, well, I'm so wealthy, I don't give a crap. I think the last type of woman you would want to harass on the job would be someone who works in legal department, right? At the legal department. I mean, that's like harassing HR, a female HR employee who gets to decide if you're fired or not, or who gets to see your complaints, right? Come on. That's not the smartest play if that's true. Now, Vince McMahon is guilty, innocent until proven guilty, of course, and it's a lawsuit, civil lawsuit, not a criminal charges. So we know she wants money. Now this is where the things get crazy about this, because it's not just a harassment or a lawsuit or sex harassment. This is a lot more. these are some chilling allegations. And it goes on to say the suit includes allegations that McMahon, who is now 78, forced Grant into a sexual relationship in order for her to get and keep a job, and passed around pornographic pictures and videos of her to other men, including other WWE employees. That is wild. The AP typically does not name accusers in the sexual case, but Grant's representative said she wished to go public. Her lawyer did not immediately have a comment on Friday. So this woman wanted to go public, one, and the allegations is crazy. And you gotta wonder, like, if any of this is true, there's gonna be actual witnesses to this, because passing around pornographic videos and pictures, I'm surprised if that, like I said, if any of this is true, I'm surprised it lasted that long. But typically, those things can't be kept a secret, right? Locker room talk, people talk. How many people have come and go from the WWE for years? You don't think guys could have went somewhere else and yapped off, or even had photos passed around, meaning that guys got copies of the shit? It didn't appear online nowhere. People would upload the shit. We just had a situation the other day where I think was it a politician or someone running for office had their sex videos on a sex site and shit. I mean, those things. I'm surprised there's nobody out there with copies of the stuff. I'm surprised that there's no leaks. Because WWE is one of those companies, a large company. So if you share something with one person or two people, the likelihood of that staying secret is slim to none, especially at a company that big. You get what I'm saying? So that would mean that other people would have seen it or probably have it. So now, I don't know. Maybe it is out there. You know, I don't know anything about the WWE's. And so I just know it's a large company. I don't know. I don't follow WWE like I used to, like WWF back in the days. But the one thing that Vince is gonna probably have a problem with, and getting a fair shake here, because there's videos of him, you know, doing questionable things during the show. Now this is a show of him, WWE, performing, and his lawyer can say, well, that's part of the show, it's acting, it's not really real life. But will the jury or whoever decides these cases, will they believe that and take that as him performing? Now WWE is performing, right? World Wrestling Entertainment. So I don't know if they can really use that to try to say that this stuff is true, being that the allegations are coming from the job. So this is going to be interesting to see how that goes out. I don't know. Maybe there's a settlement that comes in at some point to make it go away. But who knows? I mean, the guy is 78 years old. So how long he's going to want to fight that? Maybe he wants to fight it to the death, because we're talking about his legacy, his name. Sometimes that matters. But so McMahon put out a statement on Friday. He said that he was leaving the board out of respect for the WWE and the TKO group. He says, quote, "I stand by my prior statement that Ms. Grant's lawsuit is replete with lies, obscene made-up instances that never occurred, and is a vindictive distortion of the truth." He said in the statement that he intends to vigorously defend himself against these baseless accusations and look forward to clearing his name, end quote. So, McMahon stepped down as WWE's CEO back in 2022 amid an investigation into the allegations that matched those in a lawsuit, which was filed Thursday in the U.S. District Court in Connecticut, where WWE is based. McMahon was the leader and the most recognizable face at WWE for decades. When he purchased what was then the World Wrestling Federation from his father in 1982, wrestling matches took place at small venues and appeared on local cable channels, blah, 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 blah. So, that is, so we'll see what happens out in Connecticut with that lawsuit with Vince McMahon. Look, this is wild. This is wild stuff. These lawsuits, and there were other stuff that this article was they didn't really get into a lot of detail, but I saw one story, or a couple stories out there that they were talking about sex trafficking and all other kind of shit. I mean, this is like what we just read off was just like a cliff note, a summary of what was going on. But there's a lot more here, right? I mean, you're talking about sex trafficking. That's the thing that's really getting people eyeballs. Now, I don't know the details, and then I saw one news outlet showing text messages. Now, we don't like text messages. We don't know what that's about, right? We don't know if that was like kinky talk or whatever. We really need context behind all this, right? We really need context behind all this, but I don't know. It's crazy. It's just crazy. It really is. Now, in the lawsuit, she also named another guy named John Laurinaitis, who was an ex-pro wrestler and the company's former head of talent relations and general manager. So it's not only McMahon. She's naming a few other people. According to a lawsuit, McMahon lived in the same building as Grant, and in 2019 offered to get her a job at WWE after her parents died. She alleges that he eventually made it clear that one of the requirements of the job was a physical relationship with him and later with Laurinaitis and others. So, let me get this straight. And look, I'm not trying to defend the billionaire, Vince McMahon. Because if he did this, he should fry. You know, he should go to prison. He should die in prison if he did this. If any of this is true. But he's innocent until proven guilty, just like the rest of the people. Offered a job in 2019, and Vince McMahon told her. Now, at 2019, that was what? We just turned 2024, so 2020, 2021, 20, 21, 22, 23. So you're talking about 4 years ago. 4 years ago. Now, 2019 could have been the end. Don't know what year. Could have been end of the year. Could have been, let's just say 3 years. Just in case. So more than 3 years ago, right? McMahon was what, 74 years old? 74-year-old. Now, of course, you know, he takes stuff. He's in decent shape for his age, right? He's on stage performing, so he's not like some, you know, old crippled guy like Joe Biden. But so at 74, he's telling this woman that if you want a job at WWE, you're gonna have to have sex with me, Laurinaitis, and others. That's what the 74-year-old man is saying to this woman. And somehow she thought that was acceptable. She took the job. She said, yeah, sure. I'm going to sleep with this 74-year-old man to get work. Now, I need to know what was going on there. Now, they did say they met after her parents died, so maybe she was vulnerable. Maybe she was feeling like, you know, whatever. She wasn't in her right state of mind. Who knows? I'm just having a hard time trying to fathom this scenario where this old man, is like, hey man, you know, Now, if she said that he just wanted her, and that was it, I would. It could be believable, right? Men, men like women of all age, men of all ages. But what would be? Why would he be wanting her to hook up with her and another guy, and then others at the company, like passing her around? Like, what would be the benefit of that? As a man in his 70s, I don't understand that. Is he watching them? Is that some kind of fetish he has, seeing her getting banged out? Like, what's going on there? I don't know. And why did she wait this long to come to say anything about this? What, did she wait till did she moved up to the legal department and say, oh, you know what? Now I'm in legal. I'm going to go after him? I don't know. It seems like to me that there's some inside people who either got wind of the situation and went to her and said, you know what? We need Vince McMahon out. And you have a situation here where you can help us do this. And she said, okay. Maybe they threatened her. I don't know. It just seems like an inside coordination, right? To get him out. Because, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Or maybe now her life has changed. She's not a freak anymore. It seemed like this woman was, if any of this is true, it seemed like this woman was a freak, right? Like she was highly motivated to do all this stuff and then regretted it later and then probably told somebody and they thought, oh, well. And that person told someone else who thought this would be a great time to get rid of Vince McMahon. It seemed like a strange timing with, especially coming with the TKO announcement and The Rock and all that. It just seems a bit off for me. Not saying that none of it is true or not true or untrue. I'm just saying the details is very, very odd with the timing. Over the next few years, McMahon lavished her with gifts, including a luxury car, the suit says. So, and he was paying her over the next few years, giving her gifts, buying her cars. So all this was okay for her, right? She was all right with this. Working in WWE, probably making six figures, right? She's working in the legal talent department. Vince McMahon's giving her gifts, allegedly, cars, all type of stuff. And she didn't have no problem with this? She didn't think nothing was wrong with this? Man, this woman was a high-end escort. That's all she was. She was a high-end escort and Vince McMahon was the sugar daddy. That's what it is. Come on, folks. Let's just be honest. She was a corporate escort. It says here, it also alleges that McMahon offered one of the star wrestlers, a person not named in the lawsuit, sex with Grant as a perk in 2021. So in 2021, a few years later, after Vince is showering her with gifts, she's working at the company now for a couple of years, whatever. She is saying that Vince McMahon offered her up to another star wrestler that was not named. So it probably means that they didn't do anything. As a perk. So I guess a perk for a wrestler who I guess Vince wanted to impress or keep close by, whatever. So this woman was a corporate escort being passed around a company. And people, maybe everyone started finding out that she got the job because she was a whore, and then she wanted to sue. That's what it sounds like to me. Let's see. More, it says that WWE benefited financially from the commercial sex act venture orchestrated by McMahon, including by having wrestling talent such as WWE superstars sign new contracts with WWE after McMahon presented plaintiff as a sexual commodity for their use. So she's saying that as part of the new deal to get wrestlers to re-sign, McMahon said you can bang the chick from legal. Oh my God. So that's right. That's what he's saying. Hey, you sign on here. Think about this. She works in the legal department. The legal department. And Vince McMahon is like, well, guys, you can sign the contract. Remember, the contracts and talent goes through legal. So she has to see it. She has to go through it. She probably has to make sure everything all the T's are dotted and all that stuff. Vince says, well, if you sign with us, this new deal will give you star wrestler, whoever you are, you get to bang the chick from legal department as a perk. Come on. Like, this is either the greatest fiction of all time or something else is going on here. Think about it. Is Vince... Now, look, maybe, like I said, we know billionaires, people with a lot of money, wealth, and power are very ignorant. They believe they can get away with anything, so they're kind of reckless, right? So, but at the same time, when does she become accountable for her actions, right? Because to me, everything that I'm reading right now that's being reported, now we don't have the full lawsuit, we don't have all the details, I don't have the full story, I'm just basing my opinion off of what I'm seeing now. And what I'm seeing is this is a woman who seemed to be went along with this arrangement. She's a high-end corporate escort that now wants more money probably, or didn't like the arrangement. It seemed to me she went along with this. She was enjoying it. Because you didn't have to take the gifts. You didn't have to take the lavish gifts. You could have immediately said, no, I'm not going to take the job, and I'm not sleeping with you for the work. But she went along with it. It says Grant is seeking unspecified monetary damages and to have the court void a $3 million non-disclosure agreement, of which she alleges she received only $1 million. So, not only that, she was paid and still yapped off. So now we get down to what this is really about. She didn't get her money. She said she only received $1 million of the $3 million in the NDA. So, like Vince McMahon, and this woman works in legal, but I'm pretty sure Vince McMahon and whoever these arrangements were had her sign an NDA. She signs one, she goes along with the arrangement, gets the gifts, cars, and all kind of stuff. But then she's like, where's the rest of my money? I only got $1 million. I'm supposed to get $3 million. So now she figures since she didn't get all her money, she going to court. Now she wants the court to waive the $3 million non-disclosure agreement. Get rid of it, void it. It doesn't mean nothing. And she already kept $1 million, so they still owe her $2 million. So Ms. Grant hopes that her lawsuit will prevent other women from being victimized. Whoa. Let's slow down here, sweet cheeks. You were not victimized. You could have not went along with this. You could have not taken a job. You went along with this for years. Did Vince McMahon put a gun to your head and said, you're going to work for me or else? I don't think so. I don't think that happened. You took the job. You worked at the legal department, and you were still taking gifts and arrangements. as a corporate escort, because that's what you are. We got to call it what it is. Women who get promoted in jobs in the corporate world, we got to start calling them corporate escorts, because that's what they are. Having sex with your boss for a higher pay, for a promotion, you're a corporate escort. You're no different than the other escorts. You're just in a corporate. She's a corporate escort. Okay? She took the gifts. She took the money for years. Then all of a sudden, she's like, I'm going to prevent other women. No, women, there's always going to be women out there that's going to take these type of arrangements. They're going to keep doing it. So you're not preventing anything. They're going to keep doing it. Because that's in their nature. They want resources. If they can get men to pay for them. I want to know why she took the job at WWE. Why did she agree to the arrangement? Why did she sign NDA? That's what I want to know. Well, she works in legal. She know what NDA means. At any point in time, she could have got out of there. She seems to be educated, right? She got degrees. Now, it'd be one thing if this woman was just on the street, working at the diner, or was like, didn't have no education. Yeah, those type of women could be victims. They're vulnerable because they have nothing to fall back on. But you work in the legal department, head of talent, you got skills. You wouldn't have lasted that long, even if you were just hot. You wouldn't have been around that long, and they wouldn't have risked keeping you around because you would have got exposed, right? The educated woman with the background and talent that they pass around in the office, we don't hear about those stories because those women typically are much more. They're smart. They can hold their own, and it's not as obvious. So we need to know way more here before we can kind of take your side here, lady. Right now, I'm on the fence. I'm like, something's off. So now her attorney, Anna Callis, said in a statement Thursday that the organization is well aware of Mr. McMahon's history of depraved behavior, and it's time that they take responsibility for the misconduct of his leadership. So apparently McMahon has a history of depraved behavior. Now, I don't know if she's saying that because of his performances on camera, or is there some other stuff that goes on at the company that's been swept under the rug? Because you got to think a company that large is probably a lot of things that have been paid off or swept under the rug. So we're gonna find out. Like I said, if it's any truth to this, there would be a lot more people coming forward in the defense of this woman, because she wouldn't be the first person or the only person. Think about all the former employees, the people who may not like Vince McMahon. There's a long list of people who probably worked at WWE, wrestlers, employees who may not like Vince. And if Vince was that open about his sexual behavior like that, some other people would know. So it's still very early in the process, but we'll see if others come forward to help this woman or even join the lawsuit themselves. Because remember, other people could join in later or file their own lawsuits as well. So we'll see. But this whole thing is wild. Now, I'm assuming the sex trafficking thing angle is more so about him passing her around to other employees. But to prove sex trafficking, don't they have to find other people? So that means other people have to come forward and say, yeah, he passed her on to me and stuff like that. I don't know how that even comes about. So I guess we'll see. Because when I first heard sex trafficking, I'm thinking this guy, when you think about sex trafficking, you're thinking, trafficking women. So, I really don't even know how to explain that. It's kind of crazy. Anyway, the whole thing is wild. It sounds like a book, to be honest. But anyway, that's it for today's episode of the Sports Study Podcast. You can send us an email at sportsstudy@protonmail.com, sportsstudy@protonmail.com. And we still looking for a guest on a future podcast episode. So send us an email, and we can get that straight away. And hopefully we can get one before the Super Bowl so we can preview the Super Bowl with someone else. And hopefully we can get a recurring guest for NBA as well as MLB, NFL, whatever. If you're expertise, or not expertise, a fan, no experts, fans only, sorry. NFL draft's coming up soon. If you're an NFL college football fan, you want to give an insight on the NFL draft, send us an email. You don't have to be on long. We just need you to come on 10 minutes. That's it. It won't be that long. You're not doing nothing anyway. You're probably sitting at home. If you're not at work or at school, you can spare 10 minutes to talk NFL draft. All right, guys? Come on. This is Sports Network by sports fans. So, send us an email, sportsstudy@protonmail.com, sportsstudy@protonmail.com. This episode will be also uploaded on YouTube. The RSS feed will be uploading this after it goes on Spotify, and you'll see all the information on the YouTube page, email, and everything else like that. If you want to hit us directly on social media, we're at Sports Steady on Twitter, X, and Sports Steady on Facebook. Send us a message, send us a comment, and if you want to be on any sport, doesn't matter. Or you just want to talk regular sports, doesn't matter. Hit us up. All right, guys, have a good weekend. We'll see you next week on the Sports Study Podcast. Signing off. Peace.